We'll start off with the easy ones. Let's just give me a scouting report on Washington State and what are they doing differently than in the past, particularly defensively.
Well, it's a brand new staff, so there's no comparison to what went on, the last couple of years under Paul Wolf. They got a new defensive coordinator who came in from Montana, and so they run a 3-down package, they run a 4-down package, they run a lot of different looks on the defensive side of the ball. They're very, very multiple on that side of the ball. So we've got their first 4 games to kind of go off of, and that's what we're basing our game plan on. But it's a very multiple defensive front that we're going to face.
Raise your hand if you have a question. Oh, Rob, I'm sorry.
Some of the young guys on offense, Anthony, Marcus, some of the ball security, some turnover issues they've had 2 games. Is that a particular concern at this point in the year? I mean, I realize it's always a concern for you. How much, if at all, are you harping on those guys in particular after the last few games?
We're on it every day, and it's not because of what's gone on in the past, but it's something that it's a fundamental that we need to continue. Sometimes you got to give them credit. I think Tevis, their safety, made a real nice hit on DeAnthony, but he's still got to hold on to the ball. But it's something we work on every single day, ball security.
Steve Summers.
Coach, how dangerous is a team like Washington State, who's had some frustration up to this point in the year, for your team going up to a neutral site stadium?
Just based on how they run their offense, they're dangerous because he's going to throw it 60, 70, 80 times against you. So he's always winging it down the field, and there's an opportunity. They're getting their athletes in space, and if we're not where we're supposed to be, and we got to wrap up and tackle in the open field. So it's a very dangerous offense, and I think because their mentality is to pass first, pass second, pass third, is that they're always going to be in the ball game because a lot of people have a run first approach, and then when they get behind, then they start throwing the football to try to get back into it. But I think they're always in the game because of Mike's offense, and he's been known as an offensive innovator. They score a lot of points, and I think it's a matter of them getting a better feel and grasp. And each week that they're in a system, they're going to be better at it. So I think it's a real formidable foe when we're going up there to play against him, especially because of what he does.
Dirk.
Coach, Washington State's played 2 quarterbacks with Tuel and Halliday. How would you compare and contrast those 2 and what they do?
They're both similar. Big, tall kids. They throw the ball really, really well. We faced Jeff 2 years ago. Didn't play against us last year. I've always been a big fan of Jeff Tuel. I think he's an outstanding prospect. And really, 2 years ago, I thought he had a great year. He just kind of bit by the injury bug a little bit last year. And then Halliday's numbers, when you really look at them, is they're pretty mind-boggling. He came off the bench last year towards the end of the season, had a couple monster games for them. I know it was a different coaching staff, so but they're both tall. They both throw the ball really well. I think they're both fit very well for what Mike's trying to do offensively.
Rick.
Lots about playing in Seattle. It sounds like half the house is going to be Oregon fans. Any reference to Seattle or Pullman or anything like that?
Nah, I have no say, so we just get on a plane on Friday and go play on Saturday. So, and I don't know. People say it's going to be like this, and then it's not. I don't know. Until we get there, I can't tell you what. I can tell you what my experience is after the game's over, but I don't have any preconceived notions going into it. So,
Gary.
Chip, talking to some of the players about being back in school, they seem to like seeing other students and not just being football all the time. Do you have to talk to them at this time of year? I know they go through it every year, but is this also a good transition for them?
Yeah, it is a good transition for them. And we've talked about it, making sure they understand their schedules changes when they get back into the swing of things. But it's part of the process for them, being a student athlete. So I think it's a good transition.
Joy, we're going to go to the phones. Are there any questions for Coach Kelly? If you have a question, please press *1 on your telephone keypad. Joy, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Are there any questions on the phone?
Yes, Dennis from KSSports.com.
Are you coming to me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Chip, is there a certain amount of touches you go into wanting to get DeAnthony every game, or is that just kind of organic and evolved?
Did you say organic?
Yes.
Trying to blend in with the Eugene crowd. No, we don't have a set number of touches, but we know obviously he's a factor in our game plan, but there's not a set number. And a lot of it, again, it depends on how the game unfolds. All of a sudden you jump out to a big lead, your game plan kind of changes, or if you get behind, your game plan kind of changes. So, but there's not a set number. But we want to make sure he's getting the ball in his hands.
In order to ask a question, press star and then the number 1 on your telephone keypad.
We're going to go back, Joy, to questions that we have from those in person. We'll go back to the phones in a minute. Aaron?
Coach, how far has Colt Lyra come as a young man in the past year? He's had a couple missteps here and there, but how much maturity have you seen out of him?
I think so. Colt's grown up in the last, he's been here probably because he came in early, so been here getting close to 2 years now. But I've seen a growth in Colt since he got here as a true freshman last 2 Marches ago. So I've seen him grow as a person.
Is he someone you guys have to bring on more so than others, or?
No, I mean we take a vested interest in every kid we have in our program. So, there's always it's one thing with one kid, one thing with another kid. Sometimes there's more help in one area than there is in the other areas. But I think everybody needs the support, and what I think is how we do it is it's all tailored towards the individual. So, we don't believe in the statement that there's no I in team. I believe there's 105 I's in team, and it's our job to make sure that we've created an environment where they have an opportunity to be successful.
Eric?
You talked a little bit about Washington State's passing offense, specifically Wilson. What makes him such a dangerous wide receiver?
He's got great skills. I think, I don't know where I saw it the other day, Todd McShay had him in his top 5. But he's tall. He's a great route runner. He's got a great wingspan, and his ability to adjust on the thrown ball is really speaks to his athletic ability. It doesn't have to always be an accurate throw because he can go get it in a lot of different ways, and he's got great range for his size. So, he had I thought he had a real good game against us last year. Really impressed with the physical skill set that he brings to the
What's
table.
the key to locking him down then?
Everybody, 11 guys on defense. It starts with a pass rush. Not letting the quarterback set his feet and giving him time to kind of find out where he is in his progression. Making sure that hopefully we can disrupt their routes and not let guys run clean down the field and make sure we're pretty close to them in coverage when the ball's thrown. But it takes 11 guys to be great in pass defense. It's not, a matchup of such and such is on him, so he's got him the entire game. That's not how we do things on the defense side of the ball.
Rob?
You're going into a game where you figure your secondary will be tested. EFO played a lot of football, but kind of a state in the game. I think a lot of people know his name now that might not have a week ago. Anything to a confidence boost to him, Troy, guys who are going to maybe in the spotlight a little bit, having had some big moments last week going into this week?
Yeah, everybody gains confidence when they're playing well, and I thought both those guys played really, really well last week, and you hope they build upon that. And that's the good thing, and sometimes you can't, predict when they're going to get X amount of opportunities, especially in the secondary. You just don't know what people's individual game plan is until it gets in the game. Are you going to throw a lot at one guy or throw a lot away from another guy? How are they going to try to, what's their answer? And it's always interesting as a coaching staff. Nick and those guys devise a game plan, but it's interesting. You can't always predict where the ball's coming out, who it's going at. But, when it is thrown, it seemed like it was thrown. I think EFO had 2 interceptions and 3 pass breakups. So, got tested at least 5 times. I thought he responded real well, and that's what, the confidence comes from demonstrated ability that, it's not just fake talk. It's you were tested and you did step up to it. So hopefully he can, gain from that. The way I saw him practice today, and he's got a little bit of extra bounce in his step, so he is playing with a little bit more confidence, which bodes well, especially for this week, because he's going to chuck it. So.
Are people going away from him next week? Was it just a circumstance in your mind?
I don't know enough about. There hasn't been enough, opportunities to say that. Are they going away from or going to him? If you ask T. Mitch, they are. But that's Terrence.
Warren?
Coach, you've had 4 at home now, and you're getting ready to go on the road now for the first time. Are the guys excited to go on the road, and anything that you have to keep mindful of the first game on the road?
I don't know where their mindset is right now because we haven't talked about it. We're just Monday's introduction to game plan. Tuesdays, tough, hard physical practice for us, and that's all we're talking about right now. We're not concerned with that. We'll get into some of the logistics about travel and all the other things when we get to Thursday night's meeting. But they know, and we've talked about all the time, that to be successful, you got to win on the road. So it'll be interesting. But we're young, so it'll be a lot of guys' first trips, the DeForest and the Erics and some of those guys that haven't been in that situation. So there's a newness to them. So I'm sure there's a little bit of excitement to them, but. We'll probably address that a little bit more when we get closer towards taking off.
Joy, going back to the phone, if there are any questions there, this will be the last chance. Please press star 1 if you have a question for Coach Kelly.
There are no questions at this time.
Any final questions here?
Rob, running game, yards per carry against Arizona was off. I think it was 4.3 in each leg. You guys are 5, 6. To what extent did they do some things, and to what extent were there correctable things on your part that you feel like going forward?
I think when you look at that, again, there's never a talk from us about what are our yards per carry. But if your yards per carry are that, when you look at them, they're going to get their safeties involved in it. But look at the play action passes for touchdowns. Is that, when you devote people out of your secondary to stopping the run game, I applaud you. But you also have to cover people when they run by you. So, you can't have it both ways. So, I think they did a good job. I thought their safety, Tavis, was a heck of a player, as good a safety as I've seen in a while here. Physical, tough, hard-nosed, came up. He's a kid who hit D'Anthony, really took on our receivers, and we got some kids who can block, and he took them on really well. But, we hit him with a play action to Colt down the sideline for a big play, hit him with a play action to Braylon for a touchdown, hit him with a play action to Darrell Hawkins for a touchdown. So at the end of the day, it's where's your production? And the great part about our team, our staff, everybody, we don't care where it comes from. If we got to throw it, we'll throw it. If we got to run it, we'll run it. I think we're built for that. So we don't really look into the specific aspects. If they're taking one thing away, they can't defend it all. So, really happy with the way we threw the ball. If you're going to devote 9 guys and try to stop the run, then God bless you, and we'll throw it.
A couple of things about receivers. One, your receivers do a lot of blocking and they figure in a lot downfield. Is it hard to recruit receivers and say, well, we're going to put you to work doing this as well?
No, that's an interesting question we get all the time. But I think if you look at it, every team in college football runs the ball. So, and when I watch tape, I don't see other people we're playing where their receivers don't block. I know a lot gets made of our guys, and we take a lot of pride in it. But, if you're at, USC last week that ran for 275 against Cal, you're going to see Marquise Lee and Robert Woods blocking. I get that question always kind of rankles me because I watch other teams and I think everybody blocks. You block in the NFL, you block wherever you play. If you don't block, I don't think any coach would accept that. I know we emphasize it a lot, but we're not running the ball. Maybe we run the ball more than Washington State, but I think by and large for the rest of the guys in our conference, Rich runs the ball. We run the ball. Everybody's receivers block. So.
And then to follow up, after 4 games, where is the receiving core? You've had to play a lot of younger guys. How do you assess it at this point?
I'm pleased with those guys. I think they're doing a good job. And I'm real happy that we got a chance to add some young guys. And I think Braylon has really taken advantage of his opportunities. Dwayne Stanford has taken advantage of his opportunities. But overall, I'm pleased with our wide receiver play through 4 games.
Quick follow-up. I think people with more casual knowledge of X's and O's, present company included, you think play action, you think I formation, run fake.
That would be funny if we got in the I formation.
Throw some people off. How often, when you throw the ball, how often has there been a run fake or even a run option involved?
A lot.
Attention, it seems like
a lot.
Every time you throw the ball.
No, we have a drop back game and a quick game and a screen game, but I would say I don't know the exact percentages off the top of my head, but it's part of what we do. It's you're trying to move and displace and attack players that have dual responsibilities. They have a responsibility in the run game, but they also have a responsibility in the pass game. And if you can put them in conflict, with a good play action fake, then that obviously allows for you to. When you see receivers wide open, if you were going to drop back and throw it, you're not going to get receivers wide open schematically unless someone just blew a coverage. But there's a lot of times when you get people wide open, it's because you attack somebody. And when you're looking at teams that are saying, hey, our safety's got to fit and be in the box in the run game, but also cover the deep middle, those are the guys you got to attack.
Alex?
Chip, for the Monday Night Football game, the end of it, how can you use that last play? How can you use that as a teachable moment? I know you didn't watch the game, but how can you use that as a teachable moment for your guys?
I don't. Study and don't watch the game at night because we got school.
Any other questions? Oh, I've got Rick. Oh.
A couple of new wrinkles last week. It was saw Marcus under center and D'Anthony on a fly sweep, and then Colton and Ryan Bennett as a package. You guys do that on a game-by-game basis when you see what the opponents are, or is this stuff that you've kind of been thinking about since last spring?
We game plan always on a weekly basis for our opponents, but we've been under center and run fly sweeps before since I've been here, so that's part of our package. And Colts lined up as a running back in our first 3 games. He just was a blocking back. If you watched him, he actually threw a couple great blocks in the Tennessee Tech game as he was kind of the lead back in that situation. So, we also self-scout ourselves if Colt's always the blocking back in the backfield, and then how do we expand that role? But you got to have people that can do that. But we've lined up Ed Dixon in the backfield and run him before in the past. It's all part of our overall package. And then what we do on a weekly basis is how much can we put in a weekly game plan for that team. But there was nothing that we ran new that was a new play for us that wasn't in our game plan. It was just, we may have deployed our personnel a little bit differently, but it's not things that we haven't done in the past either. So.
Okay,